The pigeon landed on the mayor's head at exactly 9:03 a.m., and that is how the town of Bramblewick learned they were no longer in control of their lives, not metaphorically, administratively. The pigeon was gray round, and confident in the way only creatures with zero responsibilities can be. It adjusted its footing on the mayor's bald spot, puffed out its chest, and dropped something that looked suspiciously important onto his clipboard. The mayor froze. The entire crowd froze. The pigeon stared directly into the soul of every single person present, then it cooed once very firmly from the back of the crowd. Someone whispered, I think we should listen to it. And somehow, for reasons no one could explain, everyone agreed. Now, you have to understand, this was not supposed to happen. Bramblewick was a quiet town. The kind of place where the biggest excitement was someone getting a new mailbox. The most recent scandal was when the local bakery accidentally sold salted cookies without warning people. It was a dark day for everyone. Today was supposed to be simple. It was Fix the Fountain Day, a beloved annual tradition where the townsfolk gathered to pretend they knew how plumbing worked, all while enjoying free donuts, but instead of the usual ceremony. The fountain sputtered to life all by itself, and instead of water, it began spraying confetti. Bright, colorful confetti that formed words in midair. Please remain calm. Naturally, everyone did the exact opposite. Panic blossomed. And that's when the pigeons arrived. This wasn't just a flock. Oh no, this was a delegation. They lined up on rooftops, on lamp posts, and even on people's shoulders. One pigeon wore a tiny, impeccably folded paper hat. Another one carried what looked suspiciously like a tiny briefcase. Mrs. Davenport, who had lived in Bramblewick for 82 years and had seen 3 wars, leaned over to her neighbor and declared, well, this is new. Back at the fountain, the mayor, still frozen with a pigeon on his head, tried to gently shoo the bird away. The pigeon pecked his finger. Not aggressively, mind you. Politely, but with undeniable intent. A second pigeon then fluttered down and dramatically unfurled a scroll. Yes, a real, honest-to-goodness scroll. It listed a few reasonable demands. First, all park benches are now officially pigeon-neutral zones. Second, breadcrumbs are a human responsibility, not a privilege. Third, the statue downtown is now emotionally available and will be used for nesting. And fourth, the most cryptic one, someone needs to apologize for 2006. The mayor swallowed hard. About 2006, the pigeons just stared. A collective shudder went through the crowd as everyone remembered the infamous prank of 2006 when someone replaced the bird bath water with blue dye. The town offered an immediate and very sincere apology, and then a funny thing happened. Life under pigeon management actually improved. Trash day became more efficient. It turns out pigeons have very strong opinions about waste management. Traffic flowed better once pigeons were stationed at intersections. No one questioned them. When a pigeon stared at you while holding up one foot, you just stopped. It was instinct. The bakery introduced a crunk tax, and its profits soared. Kids were even allowed to stay up 10 minutes later, as long as they waved politely at any bird they saw. The town flourished. And at the center of this new, orderly world was Milo. Milo was 10 years old, wore mismatched socks on purpose, and had always felt a little out of place, like everyone else had gotten a set of instructions he'd somehow missed. But the pigeons liked Milo. They'd land on his shoulders and follow him to school. One pigeon even acted as his feathery alarm clock, tapping on his window every single morning. You're the chosen one, his mom said gently one day. Milo just shrugged. They're not choosing me, he said. They're just listening to me. And he was right. For some reason, the pigeons understood him, and he understood them one afternoon. Milo sat in the park with the head pigeon. This one was slightly larger, a bit fluffier, and wore no hat because true authority doesn't need accessories. Why us? Milo asked quietly. Why Bramblewick? The pigeon tilted its head, a silent question in its beady eyes. Milo thought for a moment, and somehow, he just understood. You needed somewhere small, he said. Somewhere that wouldn't panic too hard. The pigeon cooed and nodded. Milo's face fell a little. But you're not staying forever, are you? The pigeon simply looked up at the sky, and that was answer enough. The departure happened slowly, almost imperceptibly at first. One morning, a pigeon didn't show up to direct traffic at the main intersection. A favorite bench in the park stayed empty all day. The confetti fountain went back to spraying regular. Boring water, people noticed, and they smiled a little less on the last day. The pigeons gathered at dawn. The entire town of Bramblewick stood silently, watching as the birds lined up on the rooftops one final time. The head pigeon landed in front of Milo and dropped a small object at his feet. It was a feather. Not shiny or magical. Just a simple, warm feather. The pigeon cooed once more, a soft goodbye. Milo swallowed the lump in his throat. "Thank you," he whispered. And then, all at once, they took off. The sky felt so much bigger afterward. But things didn't fall apart. That was the strangest thing of all. People kept stopping at crosswalks, even without a pigeon staring them down. Kids still waved at birds out of habit. The mayor installed a new plaque near the fountain that read, "In honor of temporary leadership to 006 NOW." Milo grew older. He kept the feather in a small box under his bed. And whenever life felt confusing, when friends drifted apart, when days changed without warning, when things ended without asking for his permission, he'd take it out and just hold it for a moment. He'd remember that sometimes the strangest, most random moments are just life passing through. Sometimes things don't stay, but they still change you for the better. And sometimes even a pigeon can teach an entire town how to be a little more gentle. And every once in a while, when Milo wasn't looking, a pigeon would land nearby, just for a second, and nod. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this story, be sure to like and subscribe for more. See you next time.